Your presence did a lot. And that's the thing. We need to be present for our families or the member of our family or whoever is experiencing depression. So you were present. You were there. I remember those moments where I would just stay on my own and cry. And you were not tired of seeing me crying. You were not tired of seeing me in that mood.
That's right.
Not that you really knew that I was in a depressed state, but you were not there. You were not judging me, right? You allowed me experience what I was experiencing. You allowed me feel the emotions that I was feeling at the time. And I think that also really helped because it felt like somebody was there for me, somebody who was there to understand what I was feeling and not judge me for feeling the way I was feeling. And I also think that maybe because you experienced firsthand the whole thing, and you were just like feeling for me.
Absolutely.
That, oh my goodness, so what's going to happen now? I saw it, and you were more like feeling, you had empathy.
That's
right. You had empathy for what I was experiencing.
All right. That's a plus. You know, that's something people should pay attention to.
Absolutely.
I remember when I was going through my depression, when I came to Lagos and then thinking that things would go a certain way and it wasn't going that way. And, I was in a hurry and like, what's going on? I became depressed. I became aggressive and all of that. You also did not judge me for changing, even though you identified the fact that Collins, you've changed. It's not the man I married. And then you were able to also find out, maybe because of your expertise as a counselor also, you're able to find out that this could be the reason. This is what it is. And that's also important, very important, because there's a research recently that I read and I found out that up to today, most family members associate a person, reaction as a result of depression to craziness, to
evil spirits.
And then it's unacceptable in some families. You can't be depressed. It's unacceptable, not in a good way. Unacceptable, like it's evil.
It is.
Why you this? Are you the only one going through this? Your statements like that. And that's why it's important for us to talk about this, especially within the family.
There are cases where individuals are actually feeling depressed, and just like what you said, because it is unacceptable in the family. Your mommy or your daddy does not want to hear that you are depressed. Huh?
How old are you?
How old are you that you are feeling depressed? Or they don't want to hear.
What have you seen in life?
That exactly. What have you seen in life? What is depressing you? Come on, will you cheer up? Will you cheer up?
It will not help, ma.
It would even worsen the situation.
Absolutely.
It would worsen the situation. And I think very, very, very importantly, that the understanding of depression, what it really is and how to tackle it is what we need to talk about, is what I think every individual needs to be aware of, so that we can be able to help the person who's experiencing that depression or that mental disorder.
Absolutely. Now so it goes to the question of, okay, what are those signs? What are those things that one would see or identify as, okay, this is a sign of depression. Somebody's behaving a certain way. And then you mentioned a few yesterday, a number of them that you might want to pay attention to. If you see a person, remember you talked about the fact that if a person has lost interest
in what they used to enjoy doing,
all of a sudden, he's not interested in that anymore. And you have to be very vigilant to be able to notice that as a family member. So or somebody just lost appetite, you're like, thank God, more food for me to eat, or less food to dish out there. But instead of looking at it that way, you might want to pay attention. Why is this person not eating?
Exactly.
And then it's not every you see a lady is depressed, the next thing you're thinking about, who broke your heart. It mustn't be because of a relationship. It could be anything. It could be you just thinking about your life. You just have become depressed. You just think about your life. It could be social media. You can just go on social media and see some pictures and
people
see how
are doing better than you, and then
you become depressed. And it's not a question of start judging why you're depressed. No, it's a matter of understanding why. From the person's perspective, not like you just judging ahead of them.
So I will just list some of the signs again.
Okay.
And then we'll have a guest join us shortly and talk more about this conversation this morning. I think yesterday we mentioned that one of the signs to look out for is this person, if you have a family member who is a very jovial person, who is very, most times, the life of the party, or, this person is usually happy and cheerful, and all of a sudden you realize that they have gone into their shell. They're no longer expressive. They're now most of the time sad. They're not happy. They're most times moody, right? And then you're wondering what happened. That could be a sign that something is going on with that individual that you need to look out for.
That's
so one
right.
of the signs is that they become moody. They become extremely sad. Extremely sad. Another one we mentioned was the lack of appetite for food.
Yeah.
Also appetite for the kind of things you enjoy to do. You can lose interest in the things that you used to love to do, right? Or the things you love to do, and then you realize that you're not interested in doing those things anymore. No ginger. No motivation. No morale.
I believe a lot of people are depressed and are going through depression, and they cannot place it. They don't know what it's called. They can't put a name to it, like you mentioned yesterday.
Yes.
And today we hope to unravel this as we proceed. Now, if you have a personal question or an experience you want to share with us before we get to connect with our guest, or if you have been depressed and nobody in your family understood you, and then instead of helping, they were saying things that further depressed you, you want to share with us. And if you had a good one, their family members were there for you to support you when you're depressed, and then you can want to share with us why you're depressed, because another thing again is to know why, because if you don't know where it's coming from, you most likely will not know how to deal with it.
True that. And it's a very tough place to be in, where that you were experiencing depression and the people around you were supposed to understand you and make you feel warm and make you feel like, no, you've got this. All right, you would scale through this, and they're just worsening the whole thing for you. It's a very, very, very tough place. Trust me, a tough place.
All right, let's take a call.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
That's calling back.
Welcome.
All right, go ahead.
Well, from what you guys are explaining, I don't really know the one I'm really participating in, because the depression of it, you mentioned some points like if you are not having appetite for food, I mean, sometimes you just feel angry without even knowing the reason.
Yes.
These are the things I normally pass through. I don't really know if it's depression or not, or I can't really spot on exactly what is the problem. But at times I will just, on my own, just feel angry. On my own, I will just, I don't know, nothing.
Do you sometimes?
I don't feel just happy at all.
Do you sometimes?
On my own, personally.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Okay.
Do you sometimes feel unfulfilled?
Unfulfilled?
Yes, that there's a lot more that you want to achieve. Ooh, okay.
You remember we had a conversation of this nature when we're talking about mental health?
Yes.
How that depression, if not tackled, if you allow it to go on and on and on, it could degenerate into a major mental health disorder.
Yes.
So a lot of people are between that state. When you don't reach where you're just vexed, you don't know why. Then between that, you just have to address it. This is a major conversation. It's almost thinking like we should make it like a series. As it were. We'll be connecting with our guest shortly. But let's take a call or two. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hi, good morning. What's your name?
Good morning. What's up, Lagos?
Cheers to life.
My name is Engineer Paul. I'm calling from Ikotun Aziz of Lagos.
Welcome.
Welcome.
This is my first time calling, but I'm a ardent listener of your show.
Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, you and your husband, Tekes
Collins.
is just the replica of I Am My Wife. We do things together.
Wow.
Now, on the subject, the depression topic, I went through this year. Having to have invested close to, say, 10 million into my poultry business, only to wake up between June, July this year, just like as Tekes said, you were expecting something to happen a certain way, and all of a sudden the thing just go haywire. I just saw this bird dying.
Wow.
That is how the whole investment just went down the wire. Thank God for a caring wife. Thank God for 3 good friends. I don't know if I could mention their name.
Why not?
The people who rally around me. Yes, a very good friend, Uju by name. Then one of my very good friend, Olaiwola, we went through school together. Okay. In fact, God laid it in her heart to call. She said she has been monitoring that. Couldn't you just say, call Paul? And these were the people who kept me going, because it is not easy. Waking up after your sweat, after your daily hustling, investing massively into a business and you cannot bring out 1 naira. It could make a man go crazy. But thank God for life. Thank God we've gone through that phase. Thank God we're out of it. Thank God we are restarting all over. Thank God for the faith that we know that we can as well become inspiration to others. Like I don't have someone I can talk to, like because that period I was not eating, I was always moody, very angry, aggressive, just like I told you. Unnecessary
I can
anger.
totally relate.
That's right.
Unnecessary anger that you cannot relate with. At the end of the night, I will not start asking myself, but this person did not say anything bad. Why was I angry with this person?
Yeah.
But I'm thanking God. For every other person going through one phase or the other, I guess this, you people are adding good value. I don't know what else to say. Keep faith. Keep holding on. Things will turn out for the good. If you have family members who don't understand, at least have friends that you can count on. People you can open up to. People you can speak to. Because when you keep this thing bottled up in, that's when the problems start coming. So I'm very grateful to speak with you guys.
We're glad that you did.
Great effort. Keep moving life, keep touching life, and keep moving forward.
Amen.
So much.
Your story is quite inspiring, and thank you for holding on and being strong. I'm sure someone will be inspired by what you just said right now. Thank you so much for calling, Paul.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, we have our guest on the line right now.
Okay.
We have Olaiwola Abiola. He is a professional mental health counselor. And then he's also here to shed more light on the subject matter today.
Absolutely. Hi, Mr. Olaiwola Abiola. Good to have you join us again on the show today.
Good afternoon, Collins. How are you doing today? What's up, Lagos?
Just alive.
It's good to be on your show once again. Andrea, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Welcome. It's good to have you join us again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. We're talking depression, dealing with depression among families. First, we want to start with what are the common causes? What could possibly lead a person to fall into depression?
Wow, a very big question. Well, before I go to that, I would like to quickly say this. Most of the time, people talk about depression. We brandish this word every now and then. But most of the time, what people are actually calling depression is not what depression. A lot of time, people are actually going through moments of deep sadness and sorrows. Generally, we are cognitive beings, we are emotional beings, and we are mental beings also. So we all have mental health. So when situation of life is not going the way we plan, it's natural and it's normal. It's a normal response or reaction for people to feel sad, to feel bad, and to feel down. But you see, after some time, this feeling wanes and life goes back to normal.
That's right.
But when we talk about depression, clinically it is different. It's a mental disorder. It lingers for that state of situation or state of mind lingers for at least 2 consecutive weeks and significantly interferes with one's ability to walk, to play, and to love. And that leads to those symptoms you talked about earlier on. Fantastic point you brought up then. So, like, for example, the issue of mood. So, by psychiatric guidelines, you must have experienced minimum of 5 out of about 10 or 12 things I'm about to mention. Part of the things that earlier mentioned earlier in the show. For example, the issue of low moods. Issue of low moods. And people have this way, for example, serotonin is a neurotransmitter, one of the hormones that is involved with stabilizing the mood and feeling of every one of us. So when that serotonin is not well secreted, it's the kind of distortion in secretion that's leading me to some of the causes, because there are some of these things. I don't look. Let me just list those things. If I go into those causes like blue moods, changes in appetite. Somebody that can finish maybe 2 wraps of apple before suddenly does not even want to eat half a wrap of apple, and this persists for nothing less than 2 weeks. Loss of interest in things you normally enjoy, loss of zest for life, feeling worthless or excessively guilty. These things happen to people. Sleeping either too much or too little. So some people, because the way we respond to things differ. So some people, they begin to sleep too much. So some people, they find it difficult to sleep. Poor concentration, restlessness, you see, slowness. Somebody that is known to be a very sharp and smart person, so it becomes slow and sluggish, loss of energy, recurrent thought of suicide when people need to have suicidal ideation. And from all these things that I've mentioned, you must have at least five of those symptoms according to psychiatric guidelines before you can qualify for diagnosis of depression. And it must be there consecutively for 2 weeks consecutively. So it's not just something happen once, goes out. So most of the what people are actually going through is intense sadness, maybe due to loss of job, loss of a loved one, and things like that. So these are normal. But if 5 out of these symptoms I mentioned earlier persist for nothing less than 2 weeks, then you can say now there's a likelihood of depression here. Now, when we talk about the causes of depression, I must also say this, that neuroscientists still don't have a complete picture of what causes depression. So it seems to have this to do with a complex interaction between genes and the environment. Now, when we talk about genes, and that talk about our nature, and the environment talks about our nurture. Now, the environmental part is easier to understand because, for example, economic situation, things are not working fine, especially for a man. That can be a trigger for depression. The realities of our environment. Okay, let me also bring this. For example, underlying issue, we're talking about how this comes in families. Now, a relationship between a man and a woman, you must understand that marriage is an experience. And you are not just marrying a person, you are marrying an experience. The reality and the essence of your spouse becomes your reality. So let's say a man and his wife having serious underlying issue, for example, of infidelity, as a case in point. That alone can trigger something. This is an environmental factor now for the woman. Now, it now also brings about genetic dimension to it. For example, serotonin that I said earlier on, one of the neurotransmitters that is responsible for the stabilization of moods and feelings of well-being and happiness. We call it the happiness hormone, so to say. In a woman, naturally, it's not as secreted as much as it's been secreted in men. So that's why women, for example, are more prone to mood swings and depression. Because serotonin in women is not as secreted as it's being secreted in men. So ab initio, naturally, women are prone to mood swings that can lead, and mood is one of the major symptoms of depression. It persists for nothing less than 2 weeks. So by so doing, that's a genetic dimension to it. So because depression has both behavioral and physical symptoms. Now, physical symptoms of depression are the things that the changes happen in the brain, that could be seen without the naked eye. For example, smaller frontal lobes. I don't want to go to those scientific jargons, but what I'm trying to say is that there are realities that happen in the brain that neuroscientists do not have a full grasp of it. I just get what I'm trying to say now.
Yes.
But these things happen, abnormal transmission or depletion of certain neurotransmitters, like the serotonin I mentioned, norepinephrine, dopamine. They call it these are the feel-good hormones. So if whether they are transmitted well or not, when there's no right firing in the neural pathways in the brain, this thing has a way of inducing depression. So that leads me to this point that depression is not a weakness or a personality trait. People need to understand that, because I heard Colin saying the other time that people need to judge, and it's true. You're right. People judge people. So people need to understand that depression is not a weakness or a personality trait. It's a medical condition, just like asthma or diabetes. So depression is an illness, not a sign of weakness.
Okay.
All right. I mean, I love that what you just said. Now, also let me also reiterate some of the points you made, which has to do. I mean, just highlight some of the points you made. The very key one is the difference between bad mood, which of course is natural, and actually going to depression. So by standard, you should be in that particular bad mood for at least 2 weeks consistently before you can diagnosed for depression. And I love the fact that you are calling depression not a weakness, rather it's an illness that should be dealt with as such. And that's going to give a mindset shift to a lot of people understanding what it is. Because I see some comments here. Someone is saying that, well, whenever I lose I don't meet my target, I feel depressed. And then over time I talk myself, I get out. Perhaps that's one of those feelings or bad feelings that you talked about. Now let's get to finding solutions, because the truth is, if you look at the situation of the country, you look at the economic status of so many families, and so many things going on, uncertainties here and there. It'll be fair to say that a lot of people could be depressed by these changes as we speak right now. So what steps would you give if somebody is depressed and has identified just the way you've defined the depression? How can they overcome or deal with depression? What are the steps to take?
Wow, they're very important question there. And I think it's important that we all understand these things. First of all, I want to say that there are some situations that are absolutely out of your control. Every one of us must understand this. For example, I can contribute little or nothing to the exchange rate. And if my business is so impacted due to the fluctuation, this imbalance in the strength of economic of our national currency, I can do little or nothing about it. So these are the things people need to understand. There's something we call dialectical behavior therapy in my practice. It brings about, there's this thing we call serenity prayers in those days when we were growing up in secondary school, that talks about, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I think I need to read that again.
Yeah.
So growing up on the assembly, we say the serenity prayer that says, God grant me the serenity, the composure, the calm, the peace of mind to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's one key thing, because when people come to my center just for therapy now, they want to use this particular form of therapy to help them out.
All right.
They need to understand that there are some things you can't change.
That's right. All right. Before you go ahead, we need to go on a break quickly. When we come back, we'll wrap up your thoughts on how to deal with depression and also take a question or two as we move on. Stay tuned, Lagos. We'll be right back.
Okay, so as I already said the other time, that there's a particular therapy that we normally use in session with people called DBT, that talked about two paradigms, that there's a paradigm of things you can change within your control, and there's some paradigm of things you can't change that you just have to put them in a place of acceptance.
Yeah.
Now, for things you can change, there are two ways to manage them. Number one is emotion regulation, which is understanding and reducing vulnerability to emotions, changing unwanted emotions.
Okay.
For example, you're not happy, you're sad. Do the opposite. You don't feel like talking to anybody, pick your phone and call someone. You see, we are cognitive beings also. We are not just emotional beings.
That's right.
So we still have the capacity, because what we eventually think is what influences what we feel. And what we feel is what influences what we do. And what we do is what determines our outcome.
That's right.
Right.
So if you understand that when you are in a particular state, you must understand how to bring that emotion under control, so to say. So do the opposite. There's also what we call interpersonal effectiveness. Now we're talking about family members. Now, the reason why a lot of people are having issues is because there are one or two issues, underlying issues, whether between father and children, mother and son, or whatever. Now, you need to know how to get interpersonal objectives met, maintaining relationship and increasing self-respect in relationships. You know, knowing how to be more assertive, having a win-win kind of a thing. And that's where the place of communications matter. I tell people there is nothing in life, in our sport, have to do with relationship with people that communication cannot resolve. So most of the time, people are depressed because they bottle up so many issues. They don't get to go to a place or someone that they can confide in.
Yeah.
You see, we are relational beings also. Human beings are not created to be alone. We are social beings.
That's right.
So when people do not have people they can confide in, it creates a lot of issues. So everybody must be intentional in your relationships. You must have people in your life that no matter what happens, you can put a call through to them.
Yeah.
Now, I came into Abuja yesterday and I met with a friend. Most of the time we're both schoolmates. That's where we met in school.
Yeah.
But even though we don't get to see once in a while when we talk, if I see he just continue from where you stopped. So yesterday we're talking, and he said he has been bothered about a lot of things that affects him and his relationships, marriage. And he's been down. And we spoke for about 30 minutes, 1 hour. But I was leaving, I was alive too, seeing an old friend, you know. And he went back home, I could see the glow in his eyes. So people should learn how to have relationships like that in their lives.
True.
Right.
Even within family members, you must create intentional talking time.
Create
Intentional talking time.
You must create intentional talking time.
All right.
I also tutor at the Institute of Counselling, and when they were talking, the students said they have this strategy, you know, that they have this no holds barred night. The father, the mother, and the children will come around on their dining table, no judgment. So say whatever is in your mind. So even that they go to daddy, the way they look, they say, I don't like it. But it has been agreed.
Yeah.
You must not judge. You must not spank. You must not do anything. So the woman said, each time the children are saying things that they didn't like about her, she wants to react. Just my holder. If you do this, you are going to lose these children.
Wow.
So then the opportunity to express themselves after that day. If they don't do that, but everybody's getting the opportunity to express.
That's right.
No room for bottling up.
That's right.
You know, so people get to have intentional talking time with their parents.
That's right. That's
People need to address communication issues in their marriages.
Yeah,
That's
that makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure that families listening right now will adapt that to.
I've adopted it myself.
Nice, Collins. I think we should.
we already have something close to
to that.
So
Yes, but we'll continue from there.
We'll have it.
So I was going to ask, this question. Is there a certain age that one can start experiencing depression, or it could happen to anybody at any age?
Well, let me pick it from two angles, from the genetic point and from the environmental factors. We talk about the genetic point. As I said, neuroscientists still do not have the full package. So when there are imbalance in the hormonal secretion or fluctuation in the brain, So I wouldn't know how because I'm not a medical doctor, I'm a counselor, but I do know these are some genetical dimension now. But in terms of age, we'll talk about environmental factors. A young child definitely may not simply have depression because the child does not understand what Naira is saying to dollar. Does not understand whether the school fees has been paid or not.
Yes.
But when it comes to genetical stuff, maybe a medical doctor will be in better position to let us know at what age. But I guess that would be maybe a little bit very, very difficult to ascertain at this point in time, at least from my own understanding and practice. Okay. So that is that. But from the environmental factors, children can be traumatized and into depression at least at a certain mature age. Because, for example, children that keep seeing their parents having domestic violence issue now, we call it childhood traumatic life event, life stressors. A child seeing the father beating up the mother to the point of death, or maybe a child that was raped. Even though the child may not understand all those things, but that child is being traumatized. Sure. And now when you expose children to things that they are not ready for in terms of life, there's a way to wire the brain.
Yes.
And it can affect. So such things can, one way or the other, affect. Okay. So as per the age, I may not have the exact age now, but I know children also can be traumatized by situations, untoward situations that happen in their environment. Okay. So I don't know if that answers the question.
That does, actually. Thank you.
Wow. I mean, enough said. This is really, really eye-opening. I'm sure that some families would, especially adopting that no-holds-barred style of, because we live in an African society where they believe that, children don't have a say. Parents don't even apologize to their children. It's taboo. I can't apologize to you. Where my child, I gave birth to you. I saw you grow up. I think that's going to change the mindset of a lot of people. You have to give, no matter how young they are, the opportunity to express themselves and hear what they don't like about you. They can't like you by force because you are their parent. And hear what we can do to get better. I believe that particular strategy and many other things you've said would go a long way to help families who, of course, might be going through depression in different ways.
True, very true.
Absolutely. So, okay, go ahead. What will be your parting shots and how can you be reached if someone wants to contact you?
Okay, I would just like to say this. There are times that these things are far beyond, they are more severe than what dealing with you within the family can resolve. Right. So there may be need to contact professionals like myself, professional mental health counselors and therapists. So that's another thing. Help your family members, your husband, your wife, your children, encourage them to go see a professional. You need to pay for sessions for them. You may need to call somebody so people can reach me on my Instagram handle, love.boulevard.
Love.boulevard.
And I don't know if phone number is permitted also.
For someone who needs help, why not? You could just
okay, so people can reach me on 070-3461-8804. Let me say it again, 070-3461-8804. On my Instagram under love.boulevard.
All right, good. Guys, you got the number for those who are looking for help. If you call and you say it's from Nigeria Info, he won't take money from you.
I'll give you a discount.
And, thank you so much for speaking with us, Olaiwola, Abiola.
Thank you so much, Collins and Andrea.
You're welcome.
Great time with you anytime, any day. Thank you for keeping Lagos sane. What's up, Lagos?
Just alive.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, so you heard it from the specialist, from the professional. I think what really stood out for me is the fact that families should adopt the no judgment zone.
Yeah.
And the communication that is allow your children, allow your sibling, allow your spouse be able to speak how they're feeling. Like I said the other time, sometimes, right, it's just knowing that somebody is there to hear me pour out my heart.
Yeah.
That just helps you stay sane.
That's right. And just take a cue from there, the fact that you should be intentional about the kind of relationships you build, the kind of friendship, even within your family and outside your family. Yes. There's got to be someone you can talk to. All right. And I know that for couples, sometimes it's difficult to let that someone be outside of your partner. Yes. But trust me, your partner cannot have it all, so to speak. Yeah. You can't, if you realize that your partner is not the type that can handle certain issues. You should also have trustworthy friends, not ones that would judge you or who carry a secret outside, that you can always express yourself, because you need these communication links to be able to deal with things like depression, which could lead to some major mental health disorder.
Well, depression on its own is already a major it's already a major mental health disorder. I wanted to say something. You mentioned something earlier that sometimes our spouse might not be the right person to talk to.
Yep.
And it has happened to me sometimes where I might be going through, a very moody moment, and what I am experiencing, if I share that with you, it's not that you can't handle or share with me or talk to me. The emotions are attached to it. In fact, you could take it extra, and it might not help me.
That's right.
You might be too emotional about it. I'm, why? Oh, not that you're shouting at me this time, but you are upset about the situation that put me in that mood.
Yeah.
And most times that's not what I need.
Absolutely.
You get it. So at that point, I most times look for somebody else, to be a family member that I can reach out to and talk to, or a friend, who will probably understand me and not add emotions.
So those of you who have said, I don't have friends, I don't just have friends, now you know why you are depressed. You know why. Because they didn't nobody to talk to whenever you're down. You just listen to music and it will just calm you down for a while. Later again, you go back to it and all that. So try to make friends, intentional friends that would can listen, hear you out, and not judge you.
I can be your friend. You can chat with me, and of course, help you feel good.
Absolutely.
Follow me, Andrea_Tekes. We could be friends.
Yeah, she's good at that. Trust me, she's pretty good. Sometimes you. What if both of you are depressed? That's another thing why you have to look out. Both of you are both depressed. Who now suppress his own depression to now help the other person's depression?
You're talking about spouse, right?
Yeah,
Spouses,
So I hope enough said this morning on the show. Let's hear from Lagos as a wrap up. By the way, from tomorrow, Landlotto sponsorship is back, and you'll be able to hear more. We heard somebody's going to walk away with a plot of land by the end of this month, on the 30th. And by the end of December, somebody's going to walk away with an apartment. Me need me the house. So, guys, you hear more information about that from tomorrow. Hello. Hello. Are you there?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, Igwe Victor calling back.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask him a question, but unfortunately, the program is over.
It's not over.
I wanted to actually ask him how long somebody could stay and recover from depression.
I think he mentioned that. He said you have to do, if you have been diagnosed for like 2 weeks. I mean, you have to do it for like 2 weeks, consistently being dealt with for like 2 weeks. That it will help improve. I think he mentioned that. But hey, we'll pass the question again across to him, right?
Yes.
And we'll get back to you. Of course, you're a regular guy on the show.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. 0700 993 993 993. Do you have a comment, a contribution, or do you want to share your experience? Feel free to do that right now. The female only line is 01 465 7190.
Hello, how's Lagos?
Cheers Alive. Welcome.
It's Lake once again.
Welcome, Lake.
So I want to share my personal experience. Okay. I'm going through a form of, I can't call it depression, and just a form of sadness. Okay. It's about my project.
Okay.
So when I producer that she set me to produce my music, and I have paid in everything about the project. So there are things on site. There are some sites that he's about to drop his son to, that he's not dropping it to, and the project are more than 4 months now. And the third thing about it that he just stopped picking my call, and anytime I try to call, he not pick my call.
Wow.
And that is disturbing, and there's nobody to share with, Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So that thing disturbs my mind. Although the song is out, but there are symptoms that the song supposed to be adopted. I just stopped picking my call, and every time I come to reach it, not pick my call. So that thing is stopping me. And this, it gives me a hum of sadness. It gives me a hum of sadness. So that's why I just called to let it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the right thing to do. You have to keep trying, or maybe reach out to
somebody who knows him that can reach out to him.
All right.
Yeah. I tried that. That's against you. It's not picking that against calls.
Oh. All right. You have to keep trying. All right. And you can't do anything about that. So what you should not allow that to weigh you down, like you heard from the guest earlier.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. I always like to support him. He's a physically challenged individual who decided to go into music. He has a song called Prayer Answering God on YouTube. It's find him Leke Akorede. Please support him. It's a regular listener of the show and a caller for many years now.
Yes, we have Ara Akanu on the air. Hello.
Hello, my sister, my brother. How are you? Afternoon.
Well, fine, thank you. Good morning.
Fine. Good morning to you.
We have a solution to depression Islamically. Unless if you don't know or you don't believe.
Okay.
Depression are they are very. Some are financial, some are physical, some are otherwise.
Okay.
But there are so many ways of dealing with depression.
Are you saying in Islam? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Islamically, exactly.
Okay.
Probably person doesn't know or doesn't believe. So I really appreciate your programs. You are educating people almost all the time. Even yesterday, I called you.
Yes,
you remember, I called you.
That's right.
I spoke about that. What I spoke about that?
Yeah.
Another election. I spoke about that.
That's right.
I praised them for their
job well done.
Job well done. Yes.
That's right.
So thank you very much, my sister. You did well.
Thank you so much to you too. You know, one of the research that I read while we were preparing for the show said that people take to prayers, so to speak, as a means of dealing with depression.
Yes.
As against actually addressing it.
Yes.
That is one of the challenges why people remain depressed. I know, I'm not saying that you can't pray to pray depression away, but I don't know, if it's physically caused and let me not go that route.
Okay.
Truly,
Momo is on the line.
We can do better.
Hello. Hello, good morning. Welcome.
What's up, Lagos?
Chester Live.
Oh my goodness. So good to speak with you guys. My name is Momo. I'm calling from Lekki.
Welcome Momo.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm a first-time caller.
Wow.
Welcome. You made it.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for your great work, for keeping Lagos sane for us. I feel so at home and at peace hearing you guys out there.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
That's a beautiful thing to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you. And Bros Collins, I like when you say that backhand. That backhand. It cracks me up so hard.
I know, right?
You defensive backhand, Anyway, thank you so much, guys.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you. Wow, enjoy. People like the left backhand.
It's not like you actually use it. Do you actually use it?
I'm looking for opportunity
to use it.
Like the one that took that picture behind my back.
We're going to meet him after the show.
Left hand is waiting for you.
Hello.
Good
morning.
Good morning.
Top of the day to you. Hello, everybody. What's up, Lega?
Chester Live.
I've had all your discussions. They are quite interesting.
Thank you.
So I think the most important thing is give Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
Okay.
And God what belongs to God.
Okay.
Once you are in between these two, depression will be gone. And when the people around you are not pleased with you, it can also lead to depression, and when you are not ready to take to correction. People that do not take correction, their own is their own, irrespective of what God says, what human beings say. They dance to the tune of what their mind has been made out as is polluted with evil spirits. They can be depressed.
All right.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, this will wrap it up.
This should wrap it up. It's 11:54 already. We need to call it a wrap on the show for today. But hey, what is your take home? For me,
I wanted to ask you for that.
all right, it's communication.
Yeah.
Having to open up and talk. You see, most times when we bottle things up, we worsen the whole thing. It's good that we open up and talk. It's relieving, when you share with someone who you know is trustworthy. And on the other part, someone who is trustworthy, you should be able to have a stint of empathy. For whoever comes to meet you and sharing their whatever it is that they're experiencing. Have that feeling of empathy.
Absolutely.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.